Welcome again to another episode of the Crease. Here we have Derval Green, National Cricketer, son of the soil. So, Derval, we're here to talk about your journey, the past, the present, and of course, what you want for your future. So, the first question I'm going to ask you, where did your love for cricket begin?
Um, Pretty much from like basic school, basically. I've always watched my brothers playing cricket in the house, outside. Would usually go like in other communities to play against each other. Play against other communities. So it pretty much started from a very early, early age, and love grew
Mm-hmm.
and pursue and persevere throughout my
So, they
times.
nurtured that passion pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. Especially my elder brother. He would have, he was the first person who took me to New Hope and
Mm-hmm.
going on a trials to make the team. But I must say, my dad has a very significant role in me coming up as a cricketer because he's the person who bought my first cricket bat and ball, and he would have thrown ball to me on the sidewalks wherever he could. So he also had an impact in me, developing that love for the sport from a very early
So,
age.
besides cricket, what other sport did you play?
I played a little football. I played in primary school and I played D Cup at States. But the love for the football wasn't as significant as
Mm-hmm.
it for the cricket. So I sort of just left the football aside and paid more
You
attention.
mentioned you mentioned states. Did states help to nurture that desire?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. But I wouldn't take it to States first. I would have, have it to New Hope, where we were all youngsters there in New Hope, and Mr. Grantley Reid would have had us through, many significant training session and regime where he taught us the basic fundamentals of cricket, and we would have developed, over the years, year and year to come. Then onto states where it continued and even grew much, much, much bigger, where Mr. Legister and Junior Bennett would have, continued the trend that was set.
Okay. So who inspired you?
That's a good one. In terms of inspiration, honestly, I think I'm intrinsically motivated. So I never normally look around for, inspiration or motivation by other persons. I just know that once I see where someone else has done it, then it means that it can be done. And
Mm,
for me, then once it can be done, then it will be done. So I'll just persevere and continue. But there are persons who I've seen as my idol growing up at the start. I would have, like seeing Darren Ganga, but he just looked very, correct. And that's the way I was taught in
okay.
New, where Mr. Reid would have said, if we're going forward, the bat close to the pad, elbow must be straight, eye over the ball, head over the ball, etc. So, for those things, then I would have emulated or I like the way Darren Ganga played, and saw him as basically a motivation or a motivational factor to continue.
And who do you hope to inspire?
Well, for me, it's not only about inspiring family member or
Mm,
members of kids. Um, it's about inspiring as much persons or as much people as I can. So if I can inspire the entire Jamaica or especially the younger ones, then definitely that would be something that I would be happy to have accomplished because at the present now, as
mm,
it relates to cricket, there is not such I would say a high majority of kids in Jamaica, especially that I know of, are playing cricket now. In contrast to when I had started, where you could go in anywhere, any little community, and you would see stumps in the
cricketers.
road
Mm.
and so forth. So persons playing cricket all over. But now it's a lot different. Rarely you see persons in community or communities doing whatever sport for recreational activity. So if I can be a motivational factor for many, especially the younger force in terms of the kids, then that would be great for me.
Your debut as a national representative began in the year 2014, 2015. What was your first memory? Or what is your first memory?
Uh, well, my first memory was nerve.
Nerve.
I was very nervous. But I was nervous because I wasn't sure that I was gonna play. That's what brought
Oh,
all
okay.
that on me because leading up to that, it didn't look as if I was going to start. And when we were getting warm against the Leeward Islands, in Queens Park,
Mm-hmm.
um, then Nikita Miller, which was the captain at that point in time, he came and he said, "I'm in," and from there on, it was just pure nerves. So like Mr. Bernard Senior was, he was very close, pretty much like 2 arms length away from I was, and he was just throwing the ball, just a little lobby for me to get. I can vividly remember that the first one he threw after I heard that I was in the 11, it smacked me in my face, and that was like a moment to say that, yeah,
Wake up.
you're in it. Yeah, just live, just do it. So I was very nervous.
What's the difference between your first class debut and the 2014, 2015 debut? What was it? Were you ready that time?
I was definitely ready for my first class debut because I have had a stint in the 2014, 2015
Mm,
Super. So from there on, I gained my confidence because I was improving each game and I had played all the games right to the semifinals. So I had started and finished in the Super 50 and I did pretty decent. I got a couple of wickets and stuff. So, from there on in now, my confidence grew. And I knew that, well, then, yes, I belong here. I can perform here and do exceedingly well here. When we went to Guyana in 2016, and it was my debut game, I was pretty relaxed. It was just like normal cricket now for me. It was just like, playing in my regular senior cup game in terms of how I felt, in terms of
mm.
confidence. But I wasn't over confident, but I was confident of my ability, knowing that I belong here and I've worked to be here. And I just have to go there and let everything else take care of itself.
You mentioned, the feeling of being nervous, the anxiety. Give me one advice you'd give a young cricketer how to get over it. Because again, not everybody going to get a ball to slap them in the face and say, hey, wake up.
What I said to myself was, after all, and went in the dressing room and stuff, and then, I changed to get out on the park. I went into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and I said to myself, after all these games are done, you still have to live.
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless of what the outcome is, if you perform, you have to live. If you don't, you have to live. So just live and be happy. Just enjoy the moment and just try and stay focused on the things that you are capable of. Don't try and exceed your expectation. If you know that you're not a 90-mile-per-hour bowler, then don't try and bowl 90 miles an hour. Just stay within your limitation and back your skills. So I just believe that, and I knew that I have to live after the game. Win, lose, draw, perform, average performance, exceedingly well performed, I would have had to live. So why not live and just be me? So I just went and do it.
So this is the same mentality for both short versions of cricket and the longer versions.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I mean, it's all about intent, and backing your ability. Because at the end of the day, if you're playing the longer version, a half volley in the longer version and a half volley in the shorter version, it's still an half volley. You still have to do what is required to get to dispatch them, and that's my whole mentality. Sometimes it might not come off well or so on, but then you still have to believe and trust in your ability, because if the nation believe and trust in your ability to put you in a position of this, in such a privileged position of representing your country, then you also have to even more trust and believe in your ability. So that's just it for me.
That's a good point. How have you been coping, during the whole COVID period, no cricket, you know? How have you been coping mentally?
Um, in all honesty, it is very challenging in the sense that, you know, it's not just life as usual as I would have been accustomed to for the past 30, 31 years of my life. This is now something that I've had to wear a mask, which I've never done in my entire life prior to last year when the whole COVID escalation started. So for one, that is a massive mental change, because like just a simple thing as going on the road, you have to, a mask is now even more important than your wallet. You know what I mean? Like without a mask, you can't go inside a store. So without a mask, it's like you've left your wallet. You know, so it's like it's a real mental strain. It's something real. And this is something that the eyes can't see. Nothing that's happening. So obviously, it would be very frustrating because what I mean, we could live together, but yet still you have it, and I don't know where you caught it, how you caught it, and yes, you have it, don't know. You know what I mean? So like it's tough to think of. You know what I mean? And the whole change in terms of not just cricket, but life on a whole. And terms of how things are. You go to the store. If there's just if it's 50 persons inside, you can always go inside. Before now, if there's 15 or 10 persons inside, there's a longer line outside for you to wait. You know what I mean? So it's like a total difference. So it's tough, but life comes with changes, and we know not what tomorrow brings or tomorrow offers. So it's about making the best of now, today, this moment, and living, just moving forward.
How did you cope with it during the regional tournament?
Well, wow.
I mean, you guys are close. Naturally, you guys have a camaraderie and everything, but with the rules, the training, how?
Yeah, I mean, it was very, 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 very difficult and frustrating at times. Due to the fact that, especially, especially like the testing, you'd have had to do so many testing. Like I've done maybe like about 12 or more COVID tests, you know, and just the testing in itself is a challenge, and then now with, the whole bubble situation. And even though we're in a bubble, it's not like we can go out and, group up with other guys and, we have a chick chat like too much. We'd had to limit the amount of persons being together at once, having a chat, etc., etc. Being outside, you're just in just this one environment, not that you can go anywhere, so it's just from your hotel room to the bus to the cricket or the training facility and back into that sort of lifestyle. So it was definitely a challenge. It was definitely, especially like on days where you would have no practice, etc., etc. You just be in your room all day. Maybe take a walk down the hallway or walk up by the pool, but then the pool is empty. Then you'll be back by your room. So it's like, it's not, we didn't have like even like a game room or such like that. So we'd have had to, come up with our idea, like maybe dominoes and so on, and cook together and so on. So that's it. But it was very challenging to be there for a month and change in that sort of, environment. But again, it's a learning experience and something that can definitely, help you as a person in the sense, you learn that, your own company is the best company. So if you can't keep and enjoy your own company, then I guess something is wrong with you and the scheme of life, So you would have taught us lessons while we're there.
Lessons of responsibility. In that regard, you've served as vice captain. How have you handled criticism, especially in regards to whether or not the team performs badly, when the teams perform, relatively good. How have you handled it?
Well, for me, always I've this wouldn't have been my first stint as I
Mm,
mean vice captain, and I've had leadership roles coming up through the youth ranks. I've been captain for Jamaica under 15 and under 19, so I've been granted leadership positions before, which I think maybe are most likely they would have seen leadership quality in the
mm,
sense in me. And I would believe that I've handled criticism pretty well because I'm sure within myself and the team that persons will always have something to say in a negative facet, win, lose, draw. So
mm,
regardless of what the result is, persons will have something to say in a negative facet for some part, maybe most times or stuff. So it's all about, listening to them also because sometimes criticism are good. Some criticisms are constructive criticisms. So I listen. Doesn't mean that I'll take from it. But if there is something from it to take, then
mm,
definitely I will and try to develop if it is something to be developed and if it is something to be worked on, then I will. But if it's just criticism of of low nature, then I'll just leave it as is. It was just like something I heard, but I forgot. So I think
mm.
I'd say I've
You've
capped,
handled it.
yeah, the criticism
What's
well.
your stance on women playing, cricket? Well, women being dominant in a male-dominated sport.
Ah, well, I don't think anything is really for male or female in life. Really, that's my thinking, because looking on, in our society now, we have females dominating in areas that we would have so quote unquote say it is male oriented. You
Mm,
know, cricket is just a sport that we all can play, but it's just that the power of a male is different from a female. So maybe a male might be able to hit the ball out of the stadium, which is more attractive to persons' eyes and so on.
mm,
You know what I mean? But it is just as effective if you can just hit it just beyond the rope because it's just a six. Me saying that, I think nothing is, I don't think something is wrong with it in the sense that, females are being dominant in the sport
mm.
because I think it's good for the development of the sport in one way or the other. It will help our country, our nation, whichever way it can, but I think it's good because it's life. It's earning for many of us. So if it's a case where females can be dominant and earn well from it, so be it. That's just good. It is going to grow our economy, I guess. And has less persons being jobless and persons creating opportunities for more persons. So looking at it from a wider scale or a wider scheme of life, I don't think anything is wrong with it being dominant, but dominated by females.
What does national cricket mean to you? Or black, green, and gold when you're representing?
Well, for me, representing Jamaica is everything. For who know me, they know that once I get across the rope, it is blood, sweat, and tears for Jamaica. So Derval Green is always going to give his all for Jamaica, regardless. So from representing my country for me means more than just going out on the field to play a game of cricket. It is representing persons who are willing to stay or miss their job or stuff like that. Persons who will travel places, persons who utilize their megabytes just to keep tune with whatever. Persons who would do anything to ensure that they know what's happening in terms of cricket for Jamaica. And we're representing our own persons who would put blood, sweat, and tears out there for us, who would have helped us along our journey also. So representing Jamaica for me is not just going out on the field and bat and ball, it's everything.
What's your hope for youth cricket?
Well, definitely I would like to see youth cricket in Jamaica getting back to the level where it was when Well, definitely when I was coming up in through the youth ranks, I would have as a under 15 player, I have played against the senior cup team finalist, which was JDF at the time, and we we won the game. So that showed that as under 15s, we were at a high level in terms of our cricket. When I went to under 19 trials the first time, the team that played the under 19 tournament and won here in Jamaica, which was captained by Jamie Chenfield, which had Xavier Marshall and them guys on it, they had played a game versus the Jamaica senior team for practice, which had Nikita Miller, Wavell Hines, Brenton Parchment, all of them guys who were playing West Indies and Jamaica senior team, playing against the under 19 team. And that game was decided on first inning. So it shows again that the level or the quality of players which were coming through the ranks were of a high standard. So my hope and genuine wish for youth cricket is to see it back to that level. But I think it would have has to start from the root, the grassroots level where, you know, like I said, the love for the game would have been developed, and then kids would have that love to practice and practice and practice, and coaches would be able to, you know what I mean, instill these principles and discipline of the sport that that the sport requires to be successful in them at an early age. With the love for it, then they could get better.
Being a father, what is one lesson you'd want your children to learn from you playing cricket?
Whoa. Perseverance, never to give up. Definitely, you know, life has challenge regardless. So if you're successful and think there won't be any challenge or challenges because you're successful, then you have another guest coming. So perseverance is key for me. You know, sticking to that course, ensuring that whatever I would have started, I would have done it well, and trying my best to ensure that it is completed. So definitely perseverance is key.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? 5 years. You're 31 now, 36 in 5?
Perfect question, but my answer may not be of the one that persons would like, because I could never say I see myself playing for West Indies in 2 years or next year, this year. I could say it, but if I should say it in that manner, then I guess I would be defeating the purpose of what I would like to achieve. Because I can't say what's gonna happen in 5 years. I can't say what's gonna happen in 2 months or 3 months or whatever. But I would say what I would be working on, or what I would like to aspire in that period or duration of time, is definitely, you know, I am looking to pursue in the sense that elevate myself, not just being a regional cricketer, but being a cricketer of international status, not just the status, but going there and performing well. So that's a goal of mine. That has always been a goal of mine. But saying I would have seen myself at a certain or a particular position in 5 years or so, I wouldn't. Because just like COVID, persons 2018 would be saying they see themselves wherever or doing whatever. But then, whoa, here's COVID. Everything has changed, you know, and I know nothing about what tomorrow brings because I have to live by today. So I'm just trying to make myself as prepared as I can be for tomorrow, not knowing what's gonna come, but just prepare today for whatever it is ahead.
That's an interesting point. I'm going to give you 5 words, and I want you to tell me what they mean to you. Family.
Everything.
Cricket.
My life.
Jamaica.
Pride.
Bowling.
Skill.
Batting.
And art.
And art. And you're what? Left hand orthodox or medium pace?
Medium pace.
You're
Right
medium.
now. Yeah.
All right, the surprise question. One ball can make a difference. One wicket can make a difference. Give me one word to describe your journey thus far.
One word to describe my journey. One word to describe my journey. Well, I'd say challenging. And challenging in the sense that, like I said earlier, like everything will evolve. So what I would have learned at an earlier age coming up, things will be added. Sometimes things will be subtracted. However, the challenge comes where I'd have to learn to adapt to situation, analyzing, and so on. So, being a cricketer, there's always a challenge. Whatever match it is, you never find the same situation in the same game or in any two game. It would always be subtle difference, but it's about you now as a player, as a person, to overcome whatever challenge you would have faced to be on top.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely I would say challenging.
This has been an interesting conversation, extremely interesting conversation. I thank you again for agreeing to be a part of this episode of The Crease. And I can't wait to see what else you accomplished thus far. I appreciate the fact that you mentioned, yes, it has been challenging, but at the same time, you overcame. So again, I thank you for being a part of this episode. And again, I can't see what you do next. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, thanks for having me.